Hello, everyone. My name is Amani Sawari. Welcome to our info session for Vote by Mail in Jail for the month of February. And this presentation is going to be about gaining access to the facilities that are holding eligible voters and how we do that while working with jail administration staff across the country. So if you're interested in establishing a jail voter support program or some element of Vote by Mail in Jail at a facility in your region, then make sure that you watch the rest of this presentation. I direct justice services at Spread the Vote, and I'm really excited to jump in. So during this presentation, we've got a few goals. The first of which being talking about what Vote by Mail in Jail is, and then we'll talk about some methods to establish programs, particularly focusing on remote programs, as starting a remote program might be easier to get in, and then you can expand to a in-person program if you would like to. Also, it's conditions in today's world, a lot of facilities aren't even accepting in-person visitation. They've transferred to web visits and video visits. And so establishing a remote program is going to be more seamless. And then we'll talk about samples of questions that you could ask, different tips on how to correspond with staff, and then I will give you some resources for you to be able to run with as you continue on in this work. So just talking about what Vote by Mail in Jail is, our main focus is to increase the number of eligible incarcerated citizens who participate in their state elections. We want more people who are eligible to vote to cast a ballot, especially people who are incarcerated and eligible to vote. We do this by partnering with jail and detention facilities, as well as community partners across the country in order to provide resources to the voters in their care. We host monthly info sessions throughout the year, regardless of if it's an election year or not, like this one. And then we also provide voters directly with registration, absentee ballot request paperwork, nonpartisan voter guides, and different forms of deadline reminders. So those are different elements of Vote by Mail in Jail. Actually, that's a description of the program of Vote by Mail in Jail. Now talking about the different elements of the program. So Vote by Mail in Jail is kind of like an a la carte menu, depending on what you need at your facility or what you need as a community partner going into a facility, then you can let us know, and then we'll curate those materials for you. And we curate materials by state, but we can also create more local and more regionally specific materials as well. So some of our menu items include a recorded PSA file, which has my beautiful elevator voice in it, letting folks know of the eligibility requirements in their state so that they can self-identify their eligibility. And this is particularly for folks who are working with low literacy populations who may find it difficult to troubleshoot through if they're eligible, reading through paragraphs and paragraphs of requirements. So we create a PSA that many facilities have uploaded to the kiosk, the prison kiosk. Then folks who are incarcerated can go in there, plug in their headphones, and listen to the eligibility requirements and the upcoming deadlines. Another thing that we have is our jailed voter participant packet. This packet includes the blank forms that they'll need to participate in their local election, they're state specific, as well as sample forms, templates that we generate that are samples on how you can fill out those forms as an incarcerated voter to make sure that they get to you at the facility if you're going to be casting an absentee ballot from the facility and using the facility's mailing address. So we pay special attention to those nuances and those unique cases for incarcerated voters. And then our participant packet materials also includes lists of their local clerk or registrar's offices, so that regardless of what county they were incarcerated in, they are still able to vote in for the county that they're registered in. So from wherever their permanent residence is. So we have that full list of addresses for them to use and circulate among others in their facility who might be eligible to vote and need that support. We also have voter guides. We print them out and mail them to voters or mail them to the partner facilities. But facilities have also requested digital guides, and they upload those to kiosks in the same way that they would upload the PSA, as well as to tablets. So in certain states like Ohio and Washington State, folks have access to tablets. And so we've seen this at Mopo Indy Jail in Indianapolis and Yakima County Jail in Washington State, where administrators will just upload all of our forms, all the tablets, all the templates, the guides, so that it's in the tablet for incarcerated voters to be able to look at, read, educate themselves, and use at their leisure. We also have deadline reminders. So we partner with folks all over the country who are interested in sending voter election reminder postcards that look just like this. And so the postcards, this is one, I'll cover the label here. And so this is one, folks can just write a little message on the side, stick a label, stick a stamp on it, and send it off. And so this postcard lets folks, this one is for Illinois. We just sent these out earlier last month. So yeah, right at the beginning of last month, we sent these out, and these let folks know their eligibility status, deadlines for requesting an absentee ballot, for registering to vote, and for returning their ballot. So these are really helpful for folks who don't have access to the information that they need to ensure that they get their forms in on time to participate. And then along with that, we also provide post-release support. So as a program of Spread the Vote, we can also assist jail voters with getting their ID card post-release. If they need any help with vital records or transportation to their local Secretary of State or DMV, then we're happy to cover the cost and assist with that as well. All right, so here is the meat of today's presentation. So really just talking about corresponding with jail officials. When you get someone on the phone, and we're going to talk about who to get on the phone and how to get the right person on the phone, but make sure that you're letting everyone know the program description. So you might start off talking to the corrections officer on duty. You might start off talking to just an administration staff who's not necessarily over inmate voting, which is the term that we use when we talk to folks who are working inside of facilities. Make sure you tell them the program description, because everyone needs to know about the incredible work you're doing and about the fact that we need more services to support jailed voters. Then the second thing you're going to want to do is make sure that you let staff know that you are open and willing to assist them with identifying eligibility at their facility, and also offer to send them sample materials at whichever method they prefer. So if they want to email to them or mail to them, then let them know that you're willing to do that, and then request contact info for the person that you're speaking to or whoever they think would be the best person for you to connect with. All right. So with making initial contact inside of the facility, here are some tips with getting through the phone tree. So if you don't have a person at the facility that you know that you're seeking out who's over inmate voting, which is often the jail administrator, or it might be a recreations officer or something like that, then you'll just call the jail's general main phone line. Google the jail, call that phone number. And then you'll click on the numbers that correspond to the sheriff's office. So that's going to be the first place that you'll want to go. If you can't get to the sheriff's office, then the second place you can try is the jail officer on duty or the corrections officer on duty. Then once you get in contact with them, ask to be connected to the jail administrator, who is often the person that oversees inmate voting. If the jail administrator is unavailable, make sure to ask for their direct contact information, their direct call line or their direct email. All right, so that's making initial contact. It doesn't mean that you're securing a partnership. Making initial contact, just the goal of this call is to figure out who the best person is to talk to about voting on the campus. So some questions that you'll want to ask, regardless of if you're talking to, who is over inmate voting? This is how you can assess the situation and identify what the problem might be. We already know what the problem is, but we're helping them identify that there is a problem. Ask who is over inmate voting. That will help you hopefully get in contact with the jail administrator or the sheriff or the recreations officer or whoever that person is. Some jails might have someone who is Literally, that's in their job description, but for the most part, we haven't found that. So getting them to think about that question. And then second, how many eligible voters were registered out of the facility during the last election cycle? So you could ask them specifically about the November 22 election or whatever the last local election is. How many folks were registered at the facility? They most likely will not know. And the fact that they do not know helps us point to the problem. Third question. Okay, if they know how many folks were registered, maybe they do registrations on campus. We do have partners who did that in the past. For example, in Washtenaw County Jail here in Michigan, they were asking folks if they were registered to vote at booking. So they knew how many folks they had registered to vote on campus during the time of an election. 3, how many eligible voters were able to cast ballots out of your facility? So knowing how many people are registered to vote, who are eligible to vote, brings us into the next piece. How many people actually got to exercise that voting right, that eligibility status? Who got the opportunity to follow through? If they don't know, then that's a problem. And this helps us identify the fact and bring it all together. You guys, sounds like you guys need our help, and we'd be happy to help with those issues. And the fourth piece, this is a question that helps you assess like what type of materials they could use. Do those housed at your facility have access to tablets? Most facilities have kiosks, one big computer that folks can go to in the day room, and they get like 15 to 20 minutes to use the computer. Sometimes it's paid to use the computer, and it's very restricted internet. So the tablet question helps us know if we can send them voter guides and digital materials that can be uploaded directly to voters for them to use and educate themselves. So this allows us to assess how the facility currently operates as it relates to supporting eligible voters in their care at election time. And hopefully this will help whoever you're speaking to identify the fact that there is a problem and there are some gaps in their process. And that gives you an opening to say, here's how we can help. All right, so moving on to the next slide. If you have to leave a voicemail, I have here a gaining access guide with a script in it that I'll make sure to link in the resources on this call. But you can just say the program description, let them know the things that you're willing to help them with, like assessing eligibility, helping register voters, helping voters with requesting absentee ballots and providing them with the information to be able to do so. So leave a voicemail, let them know who you are, what organization you're with, and when you plan on calling back. All right. So after you've made initial contact, which could be in the form of actually asking questions to a staff member on campus or leaving a voicemail, then you can move on to the next step of follow-up correspondence. So we're trudging along, we're taking baby steps towards actually having a program in place. So initial contact is important. And then I will wait 1 or 2 weeks before continuing with some sort of follow-up. You can do each of these, or you can select which one of these to do. I would say after 1 week of waiting for a response to your call, then you can make another call, referring exactly to the name of the person who you got from the initial contact call. So if the CO on duty told you that jail administrator Bob is the one that's over inmate voting, when you call back, you can make reference to Bob and make sure to get that person's direct contact information if you haven't already. Or call Bob directly and follow up with him and let him know the conversation that you had with the CO on duty, Susie, and give him the program description again and offer to send materials. The second thing that you can do the week after that call, if you don't hear back again, or in combination with the follow-up call, is email the person over inmate voting. So that might be the jail administrator. And then within that email, attach the sample materials to review and follow up with any additional information needed. And you can actually follow up on that email a week later, letting them know that you're still looking forward to their reply, and that you know that it might take them some time to review it with everyone on their team, but that you're still looking forward to supporting voters in their care. And then the final ditch effort is you can mail them a packet of materials. So I'm going to show you guys what we mailed to our partners, including some partners that did not respond here in Michigan. So, and this is a great follow-up because folks who don't have the capacity to answer the phone, who can't get around to getting to your voicemail, who may have saw your email but were caught up prioritizing other things, when they get this package in the mail, then they're going to be like, oh yeah, let me get back to that person. So you can start off by sending, and this might just go in an envelope with some stickers and postcards. It can be as simple as this. And within this, we have our poster with the deadlines for Michigan. This is from last year. And then when the person opens it up, they see the materials that are inside of the packet. So when it comes to eligibility, the flyer itself, the forms, the templates on the forms, all that is in there for them to see. And then you can have a cover letter on it, letting them know that you gave them a call and that you're looking forward to hearing back on what you have in the mail. Now, you can mail that first and follow up with the bigger package, or you can continue on and keep sending goodies. Maybe they emailed you back and they said, hey, we saw your materials. We want to move forward. Then you can send them a box with more stickers in it. Let me see if I can. So within this box, we've got some nice paper in here. And then once you open the box up, there's some stickers in here. You guys can't see that. There's some stickers and goodies in here. So now I'm going to take them out one by one. We got spread the vote stickers, vote by mail in jail stickers. If you'd like to request some stickers, let me know. I've got tons and I'll send you some. The brochures on vote by mail in jail, which you could also include in the booklet. We have a brochure on spread the vote and the services that we offer through Project ID and Project ID stickers. So just a whole bunch of goodies that helps them promote the program on campus. And then the final piece that's in here is a secure submission box. So one thing that we found with a lot of our partners is that they might have distributed the forms across campus. They might have put them in a common area like the library or the day room, but they just didn't know how many people use them. People might be mailing them themselves through the mailing room that's for all, like family mail, legal mail, and stuff like that at the jail. And so we wanted to make sure that there was a special place for election mail, not only for tracking how many folks are participating, but also for ensuring that this mail is prioritized and sent out in a timely manner. And so it's got a little slide at the top. It's key locked, so no one can get into it. And so the jail administrator who has the key will be able to adhere this to the wall, maybe next to some brochures. We also sent a brochure slot for our partners who can't use submission mailboxes, and maybe it has a spread the vote sticker or a vote by mail in jail sticker on the front, whatever the case may be. And then when the jail administrator is ready to send all the mail out, that he can open it up and see what's in there. And then inside of here, we have, more stickers, more forms and materials. And so those are some strategies: calling, follow-up calling, emailing, snail mailing, and then finally, hopefully you'll get a response. And we've even gotten responses from people saying, hey, we don't need this stuff, we'll send it back to you. That's a valid response. That at least initiates a conversation around, oh, okay, you don't need the stuff. Do you already have a partner there? And then you can continue to at least be confident in the fact that they have some sort of resources available to folks. So here's some follow-up questions that you can use in your follow-up call or email before sending out your snail mail. Ask them, do they track names of eligible voters at their facility? If they need assistance with identifying voters, if staff currently work with the clerk's office in their region at the facility, if they would prefer having materials mailed directly to voters or to the facility for the facility to distribute. After getting confirmation on that, make sure to also verify the best address for that. because some jails have mailing addresses for inmates and then mailing addresses for staff and then mailing addresses for legal mail and things like that. So make sure that you have the right one, and then always make sure to end the conversation with the best contact person. The best contact information for the point of contact for the person that you're going to be working with, so that you can notify them when you've mailed them materials, when they've been delivered. Make sure you use priority or some sort of mailing that gives you tracking so that you know when it's delivered, because sometimes staff are not going to be looking out for that and notifying you. You definitely have to take the charge when it comes to communications. And then I wanted to give you guys some tips on how to respond to no, because you might get some no's. You most likely will get some no's, particularly from folks who feel like they're doing enough already. You can never do enough to support folks in becoming more involved in their democracy, to support folks who are already marginalized and being more civically engaged. You can never do enough. So, how to respond to no. Make sure that you always show gratitude for the reply. The fact that they said something is great. It allows you to establish a connection and at least know that this person is active in the role at the jail. We've seen a lot of people transitioning out of working in jails. We've seen a lot of understaffing. And so some people that we think we're emailing who's over a certain role may no longer be in that role or even at the jail. And so getting a reply is great. It lets us know, okay, this person is still working at the jail and is still working in this realm. And then commend whatever efforts they already have in place. So they might say, no, we already have a program at the jail that informs inmates of their rights and how to get an absentee ballot. Now, if they already have what they feel like is a program, sometimes it's literally just a line inside of the booking book. They might have people who come in and host registration. Maybe they only do that a week before the election. So just inquire. Commend them on the fact that they're doing something, because something is better than nothing, and a lot of jails are doing absolutely nothing. So commend them on the fact that they're doing something. And then also let them know that we would love to supplement what you're doing. Inquire on what they're doing, how often they're doing it. Let them know, oh, okay, so you have people that come in the month before an election. We would love to assist you with getting people to come in regularly every other month throughout the year, or whatever the case may be. Make sure that they also know that all these efforts that we're doing are at no cost to the facility or to the voters. And then also make sure to attach sample materials and thank staff for their time and consideration. So the third response that I have: good afternoon. We currently provide inmates with information on how to register to vote and to vote. This is provided in the kiosks and the tablets. We mail out ballots free of charge and provide a ballot box on election day. So all these no's are getting progressively better. They're letting us know, like, oh, you do something. Some saying, no, we don't do anything. Make sure that you still show gratitude and inquire on, like, okay, you said no, but we have no costs for what we do. And here's a whole bunch of samples. Let us know what you think. Or for the second one, okay, you already do that. Can we supplement what you are already doing so that we can have even more support for eligible voters? And then response 3, you might follow up to that with a question of, like, how many folks did you get to vote? That sounds amazing. Would you mind letting me know how successful the program was last year in getting folks to the ballot? How many folks? And then you can share with them that you're working with a national program that's helped thousands of people vote across the country, and you'd love to support them with resources from that program if you're working with us at Vote by Mail-in Jail. So here are some suggestions on how to respond to no. There's always more that can be done. And so making sure to emphasize that with the staff. All right. So if you all have any questions, please let me know. But we're doing the work that needs to be done when it comes to circumventing the lack of access for jailed voters to the ballot. We can do this by expanding digital access. We can provide resources digitally. We can do it in print. We can use the mailing post office as a resource. Voters have a right to educational election information, and staff have a legal responsibility to provide that information. So if you get a response from the staff saying like, no, we don't do that, that's not a part of what we focus our efforts on, let them know that there is a legal obligation for eligible voters to have information about upcoming elections and how to participate in them. That can start your response and then give them some resources. Let them know, like, here's some resources that you might be interested in now that you know this. So yes, if folks have questions, make sure that you email me. I have my email at the end of this presentation, but we're extending digital access. We have more digital resources than ever, and we're looking for more ways to incorporate them in more facilities. So as you reach out to different staff in different locations, make sure that you ask the right questions, provide the applicable materials, make sure that you always follow up. So if you don't get what you need in the first call, make sure you follow up, because 9 times out of 10, you're not going to get what you need the first call. You're not going to confirm and solidify a partnership in that initial call, which is why you want to follow up, and then just rinse, repeat, and recycle the process so that you can have more and more and more jails that are serving more and more and more voters. And thank you so much for watching this presentation. I can be reached at vbmij@spreadthevote.org if you have questions, if you have comments, if you want to inquire about your state and have more resources for the jail voting support work that you're already doing, or if you're interested in getting involved in jail voter support, Vote by Mail-in Jail, make sure that you send me an email and let me know. And we also have a new blog post that's going to be featuring this coming out in the next week or so. And so if you want more information on how to educate and involve administrative staff at jails in getting more resources for jail voter support, then make sure to check out that blog post. You can go to votebymailinjail.org/blog to read it. And I look forward to seeing you there. Thank you so much, and I'll see you on the next one.